Guys, we've had some really cold weather here. Excuse me if there's a little bit of wind, but we've had a lot of cold weather here over the last few days. We've gotten down into the 20s every night for the last 3 or 4 nights in a row. And it's put a damper on a lot of the normal lawn care things that you normally do in the month of May. But, you know, you gotta look for the positive. So right now I want to show you a little bit of positive here in my front yard, which I never feature, almost never feature in videos. I just decided today that I'm going to feature a cleanup video where I talk a little bit about this front yard area of my house and how I've neglected it and how it's, I don't know, it's something that most of us do, I think. From time to time, we just overlook things that look daunting or hard and just things that we don't want to deal with. But so I'm cleaning up my front yard, but I'm noticing that there actually is some crabgrass in the front yard. And I don't ever do anything here because it's basically just a landing pad for our cars and trucks and whatnot. 5 years ago, this was kind of just a landscaped area with no grass or foliage. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, nature is taking it over again. And so I'm going to have to start tending to it regularly because I haven't been doing a full lawn renovation out here like I've always wanted to. But I want to show you crabgrass. This is the silver lining. Let me get away from the wind. This is the silver lining of really cold weather in the month of May. If you see back here, there's gravel. I mean, it's kind of like the sandy gravel area. So as the sun hits it, it warms it up a lot more than the soil does. So in the soil in my lawn, soil temperatures have remained really low. But here, on those sunny days that we got back in March and April, it warmed the soil up to the point where, well, it warmed the surface up to the point where the crabgrass seeds actually started germinating. Probably, I never checked it, but it probably got up into the 60s at some point. And crabgrass started going. But here's the thing, crabgrass normally dies off in the fall, somewhere around that first frost date. So it starts germinating in the spring, and then during the summer it really like flourishes and it takes off and starts putting on seed heads. And by the time fall rolls around, like usually mid to late fall, when your first frost really starts setting in, that's when it dies off. Well, we just tricked it this year. We got down to like 24, 25 degrees last night, and 28, 27 the night before. Tonight we're getting down to about 28. We tricked it. So everything that germinated weeks ago is now starting to die before it ever seeded. So let me show you. All right, so here we go. Hopefully the wind's not too bad, but take a look at this. So here's a good example. I can get the shadow out of the way. So here's a good example of a really young crabgrass plant. There are 3 little things coming out. You can usually tell the crabgrass has these little wider blades. Down on the bottom, it's a little bit more red, and it comes out like this. So if all of it, I just let all of this go, it's kind of coming up a little bit, but mostly it's going to be laying flat in all different directions. So as this plant were to mature, you'd end up having a whole bunch of branches coming off the sides like this. My cat here is getting in the way. So you can see all of these things. They're all young, they're all immature, and the red is actually protruding up more and more than you would expect. And I think that's just because of cold stress. So these plants, I don't think they're going to, maybe some of them will live to tell another story, but many of them are going to die because of cold temperatures. None of them have put on like seed stalks or anything like that. But here's something cool. If you're seeing stuff like this in your own lawn or in areas near your lawn that aren't actually grassy areas, like this is not supposed to be grass, it's just weeds that have started invading. Crabgrass does not have rhizomes or stolons underground. It's actually a pretty shallow, simple root system. So if you just grab the base of it and pull it up, that's it. This plant will never live again. Here you go. Here's another one. That's it. The plant's gone. That's the easiest, simplest way to kill crabgrass. Now, I understand that as you go towards your lawn, it gets harder to identify these things when they're small and young. But if you can, what's the point? I don't know, unless you've got like gobs and gobs and gobs of it, just kind of grab it at the base and pull it out. It's not going to live. It won't ever send up new seeds, and it's really easy to get rid of. So anyway, I say easy to get rid of. It takes time. You got to be okay doing this hand pulling business. But anyway, this is the silver lining of cold weather. Here's a more mature one. There's at least 4 stalks on this one, but still, even as these things get really, really old and mature, this root system never really gets very deep. And if you can just find the center of one, just pull it right out. Really easy to do. All of that just goes right into the trash, or your, I don't know, I guess I could compost this. There's a couple seeds right there. Look at that. A couple seed heads starting to form. So that's it. I'm going to pull a handful more of these, but I think I'm going to leave some of them to see if they actually die off with the weather, because we still got a couple more days of freezing temperatures before we warm back up into the weekend. Thanks, guys.